This is going to be a video for how to do a few of the problems on the practice test for representing motion. And we're going to start with number 12. It says you are planning a bicycle trip for which you want to average 24 kilometers per hour. You cover the first half of the trip at an average speed of 21 kilometers per hour. What must your average speed be in the second half of the trip to meet your goal? So we're going to start by remembering that average velocity is equal to your total distance divided by your total time. And so that means that I'm going to need, and then this is my average velocity, which needs to be equal to 24 kilometers per hour. So this is a little bit of a tricky problem. So if you struggled with it, you're not alone, because this is a little bit of a different kind of a problem in that you don't know everything. And so you're going to have to do this in two parts and have two equations and two unknowns. So your total distance is going to be the distance you went in the first half and the distance you went in the second half. And what students like to do is they like to say, okay, my total trip, let's say the first half actually, is to make the assumption that the first half of the trip that you took was an hour, because we don't have any information about time, we just have information about speed. And so like, hey, so if the first half of the trip took me 1 hour, then that means that I went 21 kilometers. Because if I go 21 kilometers each hour and I was driving for 1 hour, then that means I went 21 kilometers. So what that's going to mean is that I can say my total distance then is going to be 21 kilometers for the first half plus 21 kilometers for the second half. And so that'll give me a total distance. But I don't know the total time. So in terms of my total time, I can do, the 1 hour that I decided from right here, plus some other amount of time to go the second half. And what I can do is I can plug this in and solve for time. And then once I have time, solve for velocity. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So what I have now is 21 kilometers plus 21 kilometers divided by my total time, which is 1 hour plus however long it takes to do the second half. And that'll be equal to my average velocity. And then I just need to do some algebra, and I'm going to lose all of those units just to make things a little bit cleaner and easier to find where my variables are. So 21 plus 21 is 42. 1 plus t on the bottom for 1 hour plus however much time the second half took. And then that'll be equal to 24 kilometers per hour. To get that 1 plus t into the numerator so I can solve for t, I'm going to multiply both sides by 1 plus t. And then this will cancel out. And I'll have 42 is equal to, and then I need to make sure that I distribute in. So when I do this 24 times this stuff, I'm going to end up with 24 times 1, which is 24, plus 24 times t, which is 24t. And then to get t by itself, I'm going to subtract 24 from both sides. And I get 18 is equal to 24t. And then I divide both sides by 24 because it's 24 times t. I need to get rid of that. And the opposite of multiplication is division. And so I get 0.75 is my time. All right, so this gets you part way there. Now we need to find that velocity for that second half of our trip. And so I said that I traveled 21 kilometers in that second half. So my velocity is equal to my change in position, or how far I went, which is 21 kilometers, divided by my time, so how much time that took, which is 0.75 hours. And so 21 divided by 0.75 is 28 kilometers per hour. All right, for number 13, it says I have 6 hours to travel a distance of 140 kilometers by bicycle. And I want to know how long will it take you to travel the first half at an average speed of 21 kilometers per hour. So what I'm going to start by doing is using my equation, which is that position is equal to velocity times time plus my starting position. And that first half of my distance is going to be half of my 140. So 140 divided by 2 gives me 70 kilometers. And I'm going to plug in this distance as well as my speed or velocity into my equation. And so position, which is 70 kilometers, that's how far I went, is equal to 21 kilometers per hour times time. And then I'm going to say I started at a position of 0. And so then I just need to solve this. So I'm going to divide both sides by 21. And I'll get 70 divided by 21 is equal to my time. And so that's equal to 3 1/3 hours. It says in the second half of the ride, you need to increase your average speed to make up for lost time. If you can maintain an average speed of 25 kilometers per hour, will you be able to reach your destination on time? So again, I'm going to use my equation. I'm going to travel the other 70 kilometers, but now I'm going to travel at 25 kilometers per hour times time, and I want to know if I'm going to reach my destination. So if I solve for time, I would get 2.8 hours for my time. And if I'm trying to arrive in 6 hours, I'm like, oh, okay, so I need to be able to add these two times together. The time from the first part, 3 1/3, plus 2.8. And so I get 6.13 hours, which is not going to be fast enough. The other way you can do this is to figure out how far you would go in that amount of time at that speed. So if I was going 25 kilometers per hour, the time that I would have left would be 6 hours minus the 3.3 1/3 hours, which would give me 2 2/3 hours. And so if I do 25 times 2 2/3, I can figure out how far I went. And so this will give me a distance of 66.66, which is not 70 kilometers, so I would not make it in time. And then the last one is, what is the average speed you would need to maintain in the second half of the bike ride to make up for lost time? And so again, I start with my equation, and I need to go a distance of 70 kilometers. I want to know what my velocity is. And the time that I have left to do it in is that 2 2/3, so 2.66 hours. My starting position is 0, because I like to say that I start at 0. And then I can do 70 divided by the 2.66, and I get 26.32 kilometers per hour. All right, if you've got questions about 12 or 13, let me know.